I just turned 26. As I've gotten older and experienced most of what life has to offer, it's been getting harder and harder to find things that excite me. Music doesn't sound the same. Gaming just isn't as fun as it used to be. Reading, well, I haven't done that shit since high school. And I find myself watching the same comfort movies over and over and over again. So, in an attempt to chase sensation, to find feeling, I am going outside my comfort zone. I am turning myself over to the dark side. I'm going to be experiencing horror films for the very first time. Where's a better place for me to start than with one of horror's most recognizable figures? Let's jump into Crystal Lake. Hey guys, this movie fucking sucks. I'm gonna spoil the shit out of it right off rip. So if you plan on watching this piece of shit that came out 45 years ago, you might want to stop this video now. You ready? Jason isn't even in this fucking movie. You know, Jason? The badass zombie demon mama's boy? The pruny dude with the machete that has the hockey mask? Yeah, he's not here. I kid you not, there were several times during my initial watch through where I said something along the lines of, when's the Jason reveal? When Jason shows up, he better just start fucking getting the coolest kills ever to make up for this nothingness. Waiting for one of horror's largest icons to come out and save this boring soap opera. But no, Jason's not here.
Jason! 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 Jason!
I guess we'll start by talking about our main characters, who are the counselors for this summer at Camp Crystal Lake. I won't spend too much time on them because their personalities and traits don't really play much of a role in anything that happens in this film. But I will go in order of fuckability. We'll start with Jack, who's played by a very young and very hunky Kevin Bacon. He's the good-looking one who's constantly making out and copping feels on his girlfriend, making everyone around them uncomfortable. He's very manly and knows about mechanical shit. Next, we'll talk about Ned. He's supposed to be the comedic relief. Also supposed to be Jack's best friend. Also openly flirts with Jack's girlfriend and simps for her from afar. He also does shit like this. That's a fatty yikes for me. Marcy, Jack's girlfriend. There to be Jack's plaything. There's this scene about halfway through the movie where Marcy starts talking like she's a medium. She mentions a vision about rain turning into blood and all this shit. It had me thinking she was going to be the one to make it out, but no, she dies like 10 minutes later. I guess the entire purpose of that scene was just to let the viewers know that people are going to die and this camp is a bad, spooky place. No shit, we've already seen 3 deaths by this point. Brenda, the other good-looking one, enjoys taking her clothes off, almost gets shot by Ned, and proceeds to flirt with him despite the fact that he's dumb and fucking unfunny. Also, she is either a vegan or vegetarian. I guess she did deserve to die. Were they padding for runtime?
Me? How can you guys eat that stuff? It looks like dead animals.
Brenda's a vegetarian? Oh god. Bill. He's just a good guy with a lot of good qualities. Brave, dependable, protective, a bit hunky in his own right. The kind of character you don't want to die. And our main character, Alice. She's a smart and reserved girl. She's having some kind of relationship issues with the camp's owner, Mr. Christie. She doesn't want to be there, but gets coerced into staying by Boss Man. And yes, she is our sole survivor. Somehow. Those are our main characters, but I do want to quickly highlight a B character by the name of Annie. She's pretty insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but I wanted to mention her so I can show you this clip.
Hi, girl. Excuse me. Hi, boy. Hey, you speak English? How far is it to Camp Crystal Lake?
With a cast of characters like this, I'm surprised this movie didn't win an Oscar. Wait, did this movie win an Oscar? Let me check. Okay, no, it definitely did not. Thank God. This movie's plot can be summarized in one sentence. You ready? Camp counselors get into shenanigans and proceed to get murdered by a vengeful parent. Nothing fucking happens in this movie. I don't need to see him awkwardly ride off. It's still going? Holy shit. Can something fucking happen? I'm falling asleep over here, boys. Holy shit. The main reason people watch slasher films are for the gruesome death scenes, right? And over half the deaths in this movie are off camera. So what are we left with? A movie about some boring-ass, horny kids who have very little to no chemistry with one another, doing nothing of substance and getting killed off camera by someone who isn't even fucking Jason. But I will run through a quick sequence of events and stop to talk about some highlights and critiques I have of this cult classic. Our story starts in 1958, where we witness a bunch of white people who are also camp counselors singing Kumbaya or some shit. Two of our counselors sneak off for a quickie in the most evil-looking barn I've ever seen in my life. Then someone they seem to recognize approaches them mid-stroke and proceeds to shank their asses. We then come to present-day 1980 somewhere out in New Jersey and follow our favorite dog whisperer Annie as she hitches a ride out to Camp Crystal Lake. But after some warnings from your neighborhood gas station tweaker Crazy Ralph and other locals,
Never come back again.
Oh, shut up, Ralph.
we should put that fucker into an asylum, I tell you what. Lobotomize his ass and whatnot. We see Annie hitch a ride with the wrong person. Uh-oh. The fact that people used to hitchhike all the time in America blows my fucking minds. This is one of my biggest gripes with the film. There's close to a minute straight of just a Jeep driving down a gravel road. It doesn't add anything to the scene or the movie as a whole. Maybe Friday the 13th was ahead of its time as far as sponsorships go. Shit looks like an ad you'd see while trying to watch Legally Blonde on Prime. Not that I would know what that's like. We see a pretty unremarkable kill with some decent practical effects, I guess. But one thing to point out during the scene is the score. While it is a bit loud and dated sounding, it absolutely gave me anxiety during the entire chase. We then see one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in film. Now we're back to these dweebs. Oh my god. Wait a goddamn second. Look at this guy's fucking ass hair. Oh my god. I know it was a different time and everything. This is unacceptable. That shit right there should have never been allowed to be seen in theaters by anybody. Anyways, let's move on. As the kids are hanging out in the lake and Ned inappropriately touches a woman without consent, Brenda says she sees something watching them in the tree line. This is absolutely one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. After seeing a first-person perspective of somebody definitely spying on them and plotting their murders, it cuts to the kid's perspective. Just look at this for a second. I found myself straining my eyes to see what I knew was there, and I couldn't. This told me that the figure that just killed Annie knew what they were doing. If that wasn't bad enough, there was another scene that told me that the kids were about to get 2016 LeBron dunked on. Alice finds what I guess is a literal black mamba in her cabin and screams for help from Bill. Soon, everyone is in there acting like it's a bit from the Three Stooges. Falling all over the place, whiffing wide open shots, and acting like the incompetent teenagers they are. This scene taught us that these kids do not know how to defend themselves in any way whatsoever. Knowing that a snake represents danger in folklore, I knew danger was coming, and I knew they weren't ready for it. When they finally pull a Henry VIII, it kind of felt like a cannibal Holocaust moment, and after doing a quick Google search, it turns out they used a real snake. Bit of a bummer for this scene.
Dad?
Either that or it's got a very short clone.
Well,
Okay, that was a good one. We then meet a gruff cop telling the kids to stay off the weed and to be careful. Then, we get a Crazy Ralph jump scare. Ralph, get the fuck out of my pantry. Did you know that Camp Crystal Lake is cursed and evil and bad things happen to teenagers there? After Ned watches Jack and Marcy making out for a little bit, there's Ned in the distance being jealous, being forlorn and heartbroken. Have you ever tried not being a stupid bitch? He sees an unfamiliar person who clearly looks evil and follows them into a cabin far away from anyone that can help him. I wouldn't worry about it. Then we get some sexy stuff. Yeah. Marcy and Jack go at it for like an uncomfortably long amount of time where Marcy's crying during the process. Is she having like a vision or something? She's acting in pain. Is Kevin just hung like that? Anyways, the other kids start playing strip Monopoly. Holy shit, the 80s must have been weird, man. Turns out Ned's dead. Good riddance if you ask me. And then Jack, dies in literally the best scene in the entire movie. I can't really show it to you guys, but trust me on this one, it's very good. It's just boring, man. Come on, let me see some shit. I'm here for Jason, man. Oh. Ooh. Oh. Okay. That was fucking sick. I do want to shout out the movie's camera work. When they're not showing us Jeeps cruising or kids turning on lights, they're doing a great job of building tension. There are several scenes when you're just slowly getting closer to a character's face, expecting them to turn around for there to be a bad guy or a jump scare. It makes me cringe and ready to look away at any moment. Marcy dies now because she's out here playing hide and seek in the spooky bathroom late at night. There's a curfew for a reason, kiddo. If Boss Man finds out you're up this late, you're gonna get the axe. Sorry about that one. Brenda's lying in bed and hears the voice of a child. Instead of saying fuck that and letting that kid become naturally selected, she thinks it's a great idea to go outside in a Category 5 hurricane without her raincoat that's right next to the fucking door. Going out without your coat is crazy. You're gonna catch a cold. And maybe something worse. Oh, another off-camera death? Sick. Bill and Alice are the last ones alive. They just don't know it yet. They try in vain to call for help and drive off with Jack's truck. When that doesn't work, they try to go and save their friends. What's this spooky axe doing here covered in blood? Nap time! Yeah, Alice takes a nap, and as a result, Bill takes one with the fishes. So as I'm looking at my raw footage, there's another 25 minutes left in the movie, but only Alice is left alive. What do you think's gonna happen? How about Alice making tea for 2 minutes? Joking aside, I actually think that this scene is probably the second best in the entire movie. Alice's actress, Adrienne King, does some great facial acting to show her impatience as she waits for Bill to safely return. So Alice goes outside to find him, and she does. Maybe just a little worse for wear. Yo, that looks kind of bad. I respect it though. Finally, Alice runs into a cabin, locks up all the doors, ready to swing her Louisville Slugger. She reunites with Brenda, and then hears the sound of freedom. A car pulling up. And that's when we finally meet some mom who looks like she's a nightmare to waiters and waitresses. You guys can't tell me that she doesn't look like the type of lady who'd send her burger back for being the wrong shade of pink. Anyways, yes, as a lot of you have probably guessed, this is Mrs. Voorhees. Once again, not the Voorhees I was expecting to be our villain, but the one we got. I honestly kind of wish Mama Voorhees was in this movie for more than the last 15 minutes. She's easily the best actor in this entire crock of shit. We see her start off so supportive for Alice in her time of need, then slowly shift into what she really is. She recounts that fateful day that Jason died due to the counselor's negligence. She gives a pretty iconic evil villain speech, sounding straight out of a goddamn anime, explaining her motives before she tries going all Rambo on Alice. The next few minutes involve some pretty painful fight scenes that go something like this. 1. Mama Voorhees is beating Alice's ass. 2. Alice hits a crazy reversal. 3. Mama Voorhees is on the ropes. 4. Alice runs away. Now get over there and beat the fuck out of her. You are such a dumb young lady. This happens 3 fucking times in almost the exact same way. But then Alice says fuck it and remembers what Bill did to that snake earlier. Alice then decides to take a nice boat ride until the police show up the next morning to take her to safety. What is she doing? Oh my god. Sorry about that. I just had to get you guys as good as the movie got me. But it was just a dream, and Alice is our one true survivor of Camp Crystal Lake. So yeah, Friday the 13th was a movie I saw. At times, it felt like a well-paced, anxiety-inducing thriller, and at every other time, it was a boring and drawn-out film that did not respect my time. But I'd be lying if I told you I didn't want to buy a Jeep right now. What can I say? I'm a sucker for subtle marketing strategies. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you really want to support the channel, feel free to check out my YouTube members page. If you're still watching this, drop a suggestion on what you want me to review next. With that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you then.